Hi guys, it's Mandeep here from the Hungry Orchid, and I have a very exciting guest with me today. Her name is Christy. She is the founder of Cheeri Cheeri. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes,
Cheeri Cheeri is an Filipino ice cream pop-up shop. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about your background and sort of what inspired Cheeri Cheeri and this ice cream pop-up shop.
Sure. So I'm Filipino American, 25 years old, and my family has laid the foundation for me. They're a huge part of my life. My grandfather is one of the closest people to me and my family, and so the storytelling that he does is charismatic, and it makes you want to know more, and it makes you really appreciative of everything that he's telling you, because he's not lecturing you in any way. He just wants you to see the beauty in everything. There's so much stories that my grandfather had given me, and I would love to share that with everyone, share my family with everyone, and think about what are the key memories, or what's something that is very prominent in Filipino culture that other people will be able to relate to. And so when I think about that, then I start thinking about the ice cream and thinking about how can I create ice cream that will reflect that and really capture it, not interpreting it, but capturing it. So it's as close to that feeling, as close to that heart as much as possible.
When did you actively sort of start investigating and sort of really digging deep into your heritage in a way that it was your initiative?
I would actually think of my connection with the Philippines as two separate things. When I was younger, I would probably categorize it as more exposure, and then when I got older, appreciation. In elementary school, I would have food that it's very common at home, but at school, it's not something you'd see in a lunch plate.
So you grew up in a community that was mainly non-Filipino, or?
Yeah, I would say so. In Pasadena, it's very diverse, and so I think I only had one other classmate who was my best friend who's Filipina, and so everyone else wasn't Filipino. And so when I would have my lunch, it would be like, what is that? I've never seen that before, but I'm being more generous about saying it right now than what that initial moment was. And I think because I didn't know what to do with that moment, then I was like, okay, well, this is something that was given to me. I can easily discard it.
Yeah.
And so there was no sense of what did this mean to me as with my own identity. It was just more like, okay, this is something I was given for lunch, and it seems like other people don't like it, so okay, discard.
Yeah.
And
did you physically discard it?
No, I didn't discard it, but like discarding it in the sense of that I wouldn't bring it to school anymore.
Yeah.
So when I got older, there was a little bit more distance of like identifying with being Filipino and seeing like, oh, I'm more American than Filipino. Than Filipino. And it wasn't until I got to college at UCLA where there was an organization, Samahang Filipino, that I started seeing all these other Filipinos who essentially felt the same way, and their interaction with it was either from their lolo and lola, which is grandparents in Tagalog, or they were born in Philippines and came here. And so I think when I started to see what kind of struggles happened for family and for what the current situations for families in order to sacrifice in being here, I started to see everything as like, oh, that is not something disposable, but something that is actually very close to heart.
Yeah.
And I think when I started to realize that, I start wanting to know more about my family, wanting to know more like, okay, this might not mean much to me right now, but how much does this mean to you?
Yeah.
And when you start realizing that they have stories behind like what they're eating, or what memory that triggers, or any sense of how that weaves your whole family together. It becomes way more magical in that sense. And so when I talk about you don't realize something until you see that it can be taken away, that's harkening back to this past year, 2017, where my grandfather passed away. And I didn't realize that was something that was even possible to happen because I just think of him as Superman.
Yeah.
And so when I start realizing that, people can age, and so can the stories with them. And I wanted to hold on to that as much as possible. And so that's where that agency of saying, like, okay, now I'm not just going to be exposed to it. I want to be involved in it. I want to make sure that there is intention from visitation. It's no longer just like, I'm here to vacation and see things. I'm here to absorb, and I'm here to respect, and I'm here to share. And so, which is, again, everything that my family has done for me. So in a sense, it's almost like now I'm coming into my own, doing the same thing that they've done for me.
You guys, sitting here next to Christy is quite an experience. You are so poetic in the way that you speak. It's really amazing to hear you talk and express your culture in this way. And you're so young. It's really a pleasure to speak to you. Let's get into Cheeri Cheeri. So where did this idea come about? How was this born, and why ice cream? And let us know.
Yeah, so like I said, it was very valuable to me to start documenting. And so when I go to the Philippines, I would record my grandparents all the time. All of our time when I do visit them is in the house. It's overeating, and it's spending time with each other, very intentional. And so I figured, okay, so they are telling me what these dishes are. Can you teach me how you make these dishes? Can you teach me someone who really captures this dish for you in the way that you love it? And that tends to be like a family member or a friend. It's no longer just like, here, this tastes good, eat it. It's here, this is a family. This is a very communal experience that you're getting. And so I started thinking about, okay, how can I share this? I think about food all the time. I started to think of like, what are flavors that mean a lot to me? And one is pirurutong, which is purple glutinous rice or forbidden rice. Mm-hmm. And my aunt would make that into a pancake. And I said, well, what if I use that same idea of what it is as a pancake and turn it into a donut? And it looked beautiful when it came out. And I think the moment that it came out of the oven, it just flattened all of a sudden, and it was sticky, and I gave it to my friends in a napkin. So just the presentation, everything was just terrible. No one was intrigued of eating it. They actually said, please stop serving us this. So that immediately made me say, okay, I need to think of a different medium. And I enjoy ice cream. I think everyone essentially enjoys ice cream. No one says no to ice cream. And I thought, well, the whole reason of documenting and sharing is hoping that it can be accepted and it can be spread as far as possible without judgment. And so usually when you see ice cream, you don't ask what's in it. You don't ask ifs or buts of anything about it. You're just like, I just want it. And so so I thought, like, well, when something is foreign to someone, why not have it in the best way where they're excited and not questioning?
What other stories and flavors are kind of prominent within Cheeri Cheeri?
One that I keep on iterating on because I really want to nail this one down, just because it's calamansi, which is, think of it as like a sour, almost like kumquat lime of the Philippines. That one is special to me specifically because that was maybe the first interaction I had with something that is considered Filipino. And so my grandfather, when I was little, maybe 2 or 3 years old, he'd walk me to the backyard, and we have a line of calamansi trees in the backyard, and he would pick them and show it to me and express like, hey, don't eat the peel, and if you eat the inside, it's really sour, and just taking his time showing me like what's the proper way to eat it, or like where you would see this. And I'm 2 or 3, so it's like, it's not like all of this is, some people might think like, oh, she won't remember this, but it was so, the care that was taken into explaining, and just to hear how happy he was sharing it with me, like that stuck with me. And I want that to be something that gets stuck with other people too. And so I'm hoping to create that special moment when I introduce it to someone else, because it might be their first time. And if they happen to visit Philippines later on in their life, then there's a connection of like, I've had this before in a place that I call home, and now I'm going to another place that someone else calls home, and I could bridge that and see like, now I have a place in this storytelling, instead of it being like, I'm just eating this somewhere, you know what I mean?
That's beautiful. I think across the board we need more of that. Like I love Thai food, yet I know nothing about Thai culture, and I think even as an outsider looking into another culture, there is a certain responsibility to not just experience the food, but make that active effort to take that extra step and really learn where is this food coming from, and the people behind it, and the culture. I just think this is really probably going to change the way food is presented, and I wish there was more. So at the Hungry Orchid, one of our main values is to intersect women of different cultural backgrounds. So we are kind of living in a pretty polarized time. Do you have any thoughts on how we can better intersect as women?
To build connection and to really listen to other people is, whenever you don't know what to do, or you're just meeting someone for the first time that you have no context or anything, is asking for advice. When you ask advice, you are asking to listen to them, you're asking to hear what is important to them, and you are asking for you to work together, essentially, and without saying anything about what it is that your intention might be, or what your agenda might be. And so I think that's the most powerful thing, is when you build connection through listening more than actually being active and trying to put something into someone's mind of like, no, you must think about it in this way.
I think that is absolutely key, because it's such a humble approach. You really have to humble yourself in order to listen, because I think a lot of times our first instinct is to speak. Right. Is to speak on what we're so rooted in our opinions and our experiences and our viewpoints, and to come into an interaction with the intention of listening, to me is like step one, and it can be so powerful. So let us know where we can find you, where we can find Cheeri Cheeri.
You can find us on Instagram at Cheeri_Cheeri. So that's CHEERI _CHEERI again. And on Facebook, it's at Cheeri Cheeri Ice Cream.
Thank you so much again for being here. I really appreciate you sharing such personal stories. And I mean, even on a larger scale, I hope to see Cheeri Cheeri grow and grow and grow, because I so believe in it, and it's so special. All right, guys, that's it for today. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below. Let us know if there's a flavor that takes you back to your childhood and takes you back to a specific childhood memory that is special to you. Let us know your story in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Bye! I hope these things aren't too distracting. They can get kind of loud. Sometimes they start fighting too.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of fun to watch, but not when you're trying to do an interview.